Houston area that are operating without power. With regards to the Houston airports, both George Bush and Houston Hobby airports remain closed to passenger travel. Travelers are encouraged to remain in contact with their airline and to monitor the Houston Airport System website, fly2houston.com. With regards to municipal courts, all City of Houston municipal court locations will remain closed through Tuesday, August 29th. Libraries closed, park events closed. Once they reopen, missed court appointments must be reset in person from Wednesday, August 30th through 5 p.m. Monday, September the 11th. Let me talk about the assets that we are working with. There are 22 aircrafts that are working with us in terms of identifying people who are stranded, maybe on their roofs. 16 of the 22 are from the Coast Guard. They have been flying about, and in many cases, actually taking people off the roof, taking them to Ellison Field or some other location. Certainly want to thank the Coast Guard for its work. The FEMA task team force is now on the ground as of today. FEMA has 6 teams assisting in search and rescue. 4 of the teams consist of 80 members, and 2 of the teams consist of 60 members. So they are assisting. With regards to additional assets, we're operating with 35 boats, high water rescue boats, and then 93 dump trucks, high water rescue vehicles. 49 of that 93 came in today, 20 from the Texas military, and then another 29 later on today as well. So we recognize that we have a number of needs that exist across the city. So I'm very grateful to that. And then I certainly want to acknowledge calls and support that we have received from mayors across the country. The Dallas mayor, San Antonio, Columbus, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Boston, Los Angeles, and I especially want to thank all of the mayors, New York, and then just got off the phone with Mayor Watch out of Boston, who will be sending clothes for adults as well as children. He just wants to know from me what ages are most in need. He also will be sending some high water rescue vehicles as well as cots for those in our shelters. So I want to thank all of the other mayors, San Antonio Mayor, LA, Dallas. All of them have indicated that they will join in and assist, and I certainly appreciate their support on multiple levels. Now let me call on Chief Satterwhite for comments that he may have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So again, I want to echo the mayor's sentiment. We really appreciate everybody that's stepping up to help us today and throughout this event that we're trying to manage here in the city. We have, as of right now, we have managed to cut most of our calls for service holding in half. I think we're down just over 400. I last checked our CAD system and verified about 105 calls for water rescue. So we are steadily working and whittling away at all those people, all of you all that have been calling for our assistance. We have more resources out in the field now than we did earlier as we get more partners to join in to help us to manage the situation. So again, I want to echo, please, if you do not have to leave your home, if you do not have to get out on the roadway, please do not do so. You call us, we will be there. We are working to get more. We have more boats in the water. We have more high water rescue vehicles now. We've almost doubled our ability to respond, and we will get to you. And again, I want to also emphasize, please do not go up into your attics if you're trying to escape water, because that could be a trap for you where you may not be able to get out. So attics are not the place to retreat to if you're in your home and your home is taking on water. You want to get out to where you can be seen and where we can respond and find you. As far as our sister cities, we are leaning forward in terms of reaching out and developing MOUs. We will be bringing in more officers to help manage this response. Our officers are leaning forward. They are doing a fantastic job. We have everybody is here. Almost every officer is here and accessible and able to go out and to do their job and to protect the city, even in the face of their own families being at home and some of them having challenges that they're having to manage, but we're out there. But we realize over several days this is going to become very taxing, so we will be leaning on our sister cities for additional help in managing and ensuring that the public is safe, that no one is missed, and that we also ensure that people's property is safe when they do leave their homes, and all that we will lean as far forward on that as we can. It's an ongoing project, challenge that we're going to face here, but we have the people committed to do it, and we will continue to do so. So thank you.
And I certainly would be remiss without acknowledging and thanking all of our first responders, Houston police officers, Houston Fire Department, who have been out on the front line and have just done a yeoman's job. They've demonstrated their commitment, their love for this city. They've been out there in the water. And so I certainly want to thank them as well. Chief Pena with the Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to first thank certainly the Office of Emergency Management for really the hospitality they provided us for the last 3 days here, and will continue to host us for the foreseeable future here. As we're still not out of the woods, we expect heavy downpours at certain times, and so we want to encourage the public to please be mindful that standing water is extremely dangerous. Okay, it's extremely dangerous. You can't tell what you're stepping into. So please, if you don't have to be out in the streets, do not be out in the streets, and please don't drive. The Houston Fire Department has been working tirelessly, as has the Houston Police Department, to try to effect rescues and keep the public safe. We are working again to switch personnel, keep them fresh, keep them their head in the game, so to speak, and to keep them their situational awareness where it should be. We're going to work with our partners. We do have state assets now in place. We are more efficiently being able to affect the rescues and the demand for service here in the city of Houston, and we're going to continue to really provide a presence out there and ensure that we're doing the right thing for this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Dennis Stolinsky is over Homeland Security, and of course we've been housed here at the HEC Center for the last several days, and we'll be housed here for several days to come. So Dennis,
Thank you, Mayor. So the city is our emergency operations center is operating at level 1, which essentially means that all city departments are represented here, along with our partners, both at the state and federal level. We've got resources from all these different agencies. It's unbelievable about the cooperation that's going on among the various agencies. The bottom line is we're not out of the woods yet. We saw the weather deteriorate a little bit yesterday, and so I think we'll see us here for several more days probably, as we continue to work with our partners and more assistance comes in from other departments. So a big thank you to all of our partner agencies, both at the federal, state, and local level. We'll continue to work this thing. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Mark Ackerbaum, of course, gives leadership to the Mayor's Homeless Programs, the Homeless Initiative. Mark?
Working with the Coalition for the Homeless, we have been coordinating with our agencies that have been working with the homeless, outreach teams and shelters. The majority of the homeless are off the streets and are in area shelters. We've worked closely with Star of Hope, as well as with Salvation Army, who have around 500 more homeless individuals than normal in their shelters. Additionally, homeless individuals have been going to the regular shelters, including the George R. Brown, starting 4 days ago, outreach teams with the HPD Homeless Outreach Team, the Sheriff's Department Homeless Outreach Team, as well as outreach teams from area partner agencies have been out working to get the homeless into shelters. They've done an amazing job, and that's why the vast majority of the homeless are off the streets. Those remaining have gone in today. There's still a couple cases, and our first responders are still working with them to convince them to come off the streets. But the homeless are safe and sound, and our prayers and thoughts are with the entire Houston area community.
Thanks, Mark. We have a number of partners that are working with us, with the city. I certainly want to thank all of them. I do want to highlight the Red Cross. They have been very supportive from the front end. 3 phases to this. That's the pre-preparation to the storm. The second is what we're doing during the storm, and then the third will be the aftermath. So I want to thank the Red Cross for stepping in early, even in the pre-preparation phase. We had already identified 2 shelters. One, of course, was M.O. Campbell, and we can remember from the last major storm back in April of last year. We know what happened when the waters came in and the apartment complexes were flooded and all of the pandemonium that occurred. We were able to avoid that, get in early, open up those shelters, staff, supply them, talk to the residents in those apartment complex before the deluge of water came in, and that was a pretty good transition. So I want to thank the Red Cross for their participation. And then secondly, I want to thank members of the faith-based community. Even prior to the rainfall, more than 25 churches were stepping up and making their facilities, indicating that they would make their facilities available. So I want to thank the members of the faith-based community. And then certainly I want to thank members in the business community and other nonprofits for being supportive. This is not going to be a 1, 2, 3 day deal. It's going, even when when the storm is no longer a storm. We know that the aftermath is going to require a lot of attention, a lot of focus to get people back into a sense of normalcy. But I do want to thank everyone for just working with us, and I want to thank Houstonians for just doing their part and helping us get through the situation. Having said that, we'll take whatever questions you may have.
Mayor, you commented on just then about the community and what all they've done. But as you consider the length of the event, even in advance, did you regret at all maybe not ordering evacuations and events in advance of this?
No, absolutely not. County Judge Ed Emmett and I have talked, and we both wholeheartedly agreed that the best course of action for the people in the city of Houston and for Harris County were for people to stay in place. Number one, if you can recall, there was a lot of conversation about the direction in which Hurricane Harvey was going to go. No one knew which direction it was going to go. So it's kind of difficult to send people away from danger when you don't know where the danger is. Number two, to try to put forth some sort of evacuation in a couple of days the logistics would have been crazy, okay? Because if we can remember the last time we evacuated, there was a great deal of confusion, great deal of chaos. There were people that literally were going to Austin and was on the road 10 to 12 hours, if not longer. There were people who ran out of gas on their way. A great deal of confusion. It takes a lot of preparation. You have to have an evacuation plan. And then in the city of Houston, there are 2.3 million people. When you combine that with Harris County, you're talking about 6.5 million people. Where are they going? And then once they are away from the city of Houston, they are away from our assets and our ability to help them. And they're not leaving the city and staying away. At some point in time, they are coming back. Okay? And when they come back, how do you handle that type of traffic coming back into the city? And when you have many roads that are impassable as they are today, can you imagine the nightmare it would be with millions of people coming back into the city where many of their communities are underwater, streets are not passable? No. The decision that we made was a smart one. It was in the best interest of Houstonians. It was the right decision in terms of their safety And always we must put the interests of the city of Houston and Houstonians first. That's exactly what we did. Absolutely no regrets. We did what was the right thing to do, and we are acting according to the plan that we laid out.
Mayor?
Yes.
With the people who have to be evacuated from homes going to the GRD, that's evoking some memories of what happened with in New Orleans with Katrina and people going to Superdome there. I don't know if you're cognizant of that and cognizant of trying to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what happened in Superdome.
Oh yes, I'm not. That does not concern me at all. Last year in April 2016, when we faced the flood, we had a number of people at the M.O. Campbell Center that went quite smoothly, and we transitioned them from the shelter and put them into temporary housing and eventually into permanent housing. The reality is that because of the widespread flooding that has taken place, that took over the last day or so, there are a number of people that don't have a place to go. And many of the people, for example, that went to the George R. Brown today, they came to the George R. Brown today wet, in wet clothes. They don't have a place to go. Okay, the stress level for them is great. Many people were in homes with water. Okay, some of them were senior citizens. Some of them have families. Some of them have pets. So this was a part of the plan to help provide stability and some security in their lives, to put them in a better place, albeit temporarily, as we transition them and get them back on their feet. So, and I think in this city we know how to do it in such a way that it's not chaotic, but it's respectful, it's dignified. You don't rob them further of what they have lost, but you recognize that in any point in time, when people are in crisis, you do your very best to provide them with some degree of normalcy. And that's what's occurring here, and I want to thank all of the partners for just being exceptional. Look, these people are part of our family. And what happens when a family member is in need? We wrap our arms around our brothers and sisters, and we give them the help that they need, and help them put them back on their feet.
Mayor, what about, I know rescue boats were important to bring in, but what
Yes.
about high water rescue vehicles?
Yes.
Should the National Guard, if we had them closer, or will you be using some vehicles like that to bring out more people who need?
Absolutely. Many of the 49 that we're talking about are high water rescue vehicles are boats. We had a number that existed in our own inventory. Fire has some already. Police has some. Public Works had some. FBI in the area had assets. But the flooding that is taking place is unprecedented, historic, okay, and was all over the city and all over the county. In fact, all over the region. And it's not unlike what took place, let's say, in 2016, when you may have had one or two areas that needed high water rescue vehicles. In this particular instance, high water rescue vehicles have been needed all over the city and all over the county. And quite frankly, we simply did not have enough assets within our existing inventory to meet those immediate demands. I am very thankful that we were able to obtain additional high water vehicles today and boats today. And then just like Mayor Walsh from Boston has indicated, we'll be sending some additional support, as well as others that will be doing the same.
Would a choice of asking National Guard for their help, or is that even an issue?
Look,
Part of the process.
Look, we asked everybody, if you got a high water vehicle or high water boat, look, we will be very appreciative, and we certainly will thank it. We'll thank you. We want to get to those who are in distress, those who are on the roofs, those who are in attics, those who are in their homes. We want to get to them as quickly as possible. Because can you imagine, the worst thing is to be either out of your home, on the roof, in the attic, in a house, and in water, I mean, you want out of that situation as quickly as possible. So we want to get to people as quickly as possible. And so in order to do that, you can have the personnel, but they also need the equipment. Mm-hmm.
The
Yes,
shelters that are, the shelters that are going to be open, is there any expectation, do you know as far as how long they might have to be open and how long people might have to stay there?
The goal is to stabilize their lives and to transition them out of the shelters as soon as possible. Again, like last year, we put them in. They were in shelters, for example, on I want to say like a Monday. I think it was like on a Friday. They went into the shelter on a Friday, and by that following week, we would transition them out to either some other form of housing. So you don't want to keep people in a shelter too long. Many people, they have their families, they have their pets. So the goal is to provide them with the assistance that they need, help to stabilize their situation, and then transition them to a better place in their lives as quickly as possible.
Mayor, with some of the resources you've suggested are now in place, do you feel significantly more ready for whatever might happen over the next, say, 24 hours, especially this evening?
I feel a lot more comfortable that we can meet the demand much sooner. Okay, we've always been moving in the right direction. I mean, I can say to you as mayor of the city that our firefighters and our police officers and other responders could not have moved any faster. Okay, but it's one thing to be moving faster, to be out there. It's even better when you have the equipment and you're able to reach people with the boats or high water rescue vehicles, and you have more to work with. And now they've been given more to work with. We're still looking for more. Okay, we're still looking for more. But a lot of rescues took place today. Coast Guard, I certainly want to acknowledge them again, because they're the ones with the aircraft. 16 of the 22 have been flying around, and they have been literally taking people off the roof and then taking them to a better place. So I feel very comfortable where we are. But let me just say this. I don't want to treat this as if, the storm has come and passed. This is pretty much like day 2. Okay? There will be day 3, and there will be day 4, and there may be day 5. And what I'm saying to Houstonians, let's be very patient. Let's not think, okay, it's been 2 days and now it's time to get back on the street. That will complicate all of our complicate matters more. So it's important for Houstonians to be very patient. Let's not get storm fatigue, because quite frankly, you put yourself more in jeopardy when you're on the street. Better to stay in your home unless waters are rising and you are facing some life-threatening situation. I still would say to people as it relates to 911, allow those life-threatening calls to come through first. It's not to say that your situation is not important, but if for people who are facing life-threatening situations, allow those calls to come through and allow us to meet those needs, and then we'll go from there. Thank you all so very, very much.